So real quick, before we go over this story, I want to bring up this thing that I noticed recently. From the Daily Mail, July 14th, 2023. Snow White and the Seven Politically Correct Companions. First picture of new live-action remake of Disney classic show stand-in princess walking with diverse band of merry men and women after a row after overusing dwarf actors. Look at this. A band of merry men and women with Snow White. Then let's see what happened after that. Daily Wire announces live-action Snow White and the Evil Queen starring YouTube sensation Brett Cooper. Okay. Looks a little bit different.
Once upon a time.
Looks fine to me. You don't see anything, but it's the Daily Wire. Also, Lady Ballers looks pretty funny, but clearly this ain't gonna have this in it, okay? So, that's October 16th, 2023. What happens after that? Well, October 28th at light speed, Disney whitewashes Snow White after... after diverse casting backlash. CGI caught by fans. So after all that, Disney majorly postpones Snow White. Now, as we know, Disney has postponed the opening of Snow White. The Hollywood Reporter confirmed Disney on Friday announced it is delaying the release of its live-action Snow White movie starring Rachel Ziegler by a year from March 2024 to March 2025. When Disney announced the delay, we learned three things. Snow White will be pushed back 1 year. The first image released of the movie starred Rachel Ziegler in the center as Snow White, squashing rumors that she will be replaced. Snow White will indeed have 7 dwarves. Boom. Look at that. We went from Snow White and the 7 merry men and women. Also, there's 8 up here. I don't know why that is. But we went from this being the casting to this. I'd say that's a pretty big change. But anyways, now to our main story. Federal judges overturned Maryland's handgun licensing law. So a federal appeals court overturned one of Maryland's toughest gun control laws on Tuesday, saying the decade-old handgun licensing statute that required fingerprinting, firearms training, and a waiting period of up to a month violated the Second Amendment. Didn't see that one coming. The ruling from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit is among the first to strike down handgun permit requirements under a legal test established by the Supreme Court in 2022 that requires judges to consider whether modern-day regulations mirror what was in place around the time of the country's founding. The panel voted 2-1 to block Maryland's enforcement of a key part of a 2013 law that was passed by Democratic legislators after the 2012 shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut. The reason the court was voting 2-1 instead of more is because now after this, they can appeal it to an en banc panel, which will be all 11 judges, at least in the Ninth Circuit. But they're in the fourth. And then after that, it can be appealed to the Supreme Court. It required that handgun buyers who already faced background checks and waiting periods for purchases obtain an additional handgun qualification license from Maryland officials and wait up to 30 days to have it approved. When the law was passed, advocates heralded the extra steps as a way to deal with straw purchasers who bought guns on behalf of people who couldn't pass a background check. The Fourth Circuit judges said that in their opinion Tuesday that the prospect of waiting 30 days for a permit abridged gun buyers' right to keep and bear arms. Yeah. More than 315.7 thousand permits have been issued by the Maryland State Police since the law took effect, the agency said Tuesday. The law's waiting period could well be the critical time in which the applicants expect to face danger, the appeals court stated. Yes, an excellent example of this would be the 2015 article and 2015 incident in New Jersey, which had a similar law. A woman was murdered while awaiting a gun permit for self-protection. And just to be safe, yep, 92.5. NewsGuard certified. New Jersey's strict gun control laws have cost one defenseless woman her life. According to the Blaze, Carol Baum, Carol of Berlin Township, New Jersey, feared for her life. She filed a restraining order on her ex-boyfriend and convicted felon Michael Attell installed security cameras around her home and applied for a gun permit. Attell had been threatening her, even breaking her car windows. She followed the letter of the law, but all of the red tape slowed the process down too much to help her. In an interview with the Courier Post, Berlin Police Chief Leonard Czech said that the process to obtain a handgun license can take about 2 months or longer. Applied for a handgun on April 21st. She followed up last Monday, June 1st, and was murdered 2 days later. So a month and a half later, she was murdered. Police discovered her lifeless body in her driveway with multiple stab wounds. Attell subsequently committed suicide in another ex-girlfriend's garage, so he didn't get put away. From the Free Beacon, New Jersey woman stabbed to death by ex while waiting for a gun permit. New Jersey woman was murdered by her ex-boyfriend on Wednesday as she waited for approval from the state to buy a handgun. In addition to obtaining a restraining order against her ex, Michael Attell, and installing security cameras in her home, Carol had applied for a permit to purchase a handgun on April 21st. Police told the New Jersey Courier Post that she had inquired about the application as recently as Monday. We did not get the fingerprint information yet, Berlin Township Police Chief Leonard Czech told the paper. So because he was missing one required piece of information, apparently, she's dead. Unlike most states, New Jersey's restrictive gun laws require a permit to purchase a handgun. A permit to purchase a handgun. Bitch is called the Constitution. The permit process can take several months to complete. Her murder has left her friends and neighbors in shock. She did absolutely everything she was supposed to, her co-worker told the paper. Do they have enough now to get him? She cared about everybody who walked through that door, and every client was her friend. Linda, who owned the salon she had worked at the past 20 years, told the Courier Post. She was invited to every wedding, every baby shower, everything. And now she's gone. And why is that? Because she followed the fucking law, even when the law wasn't there to help her. From Fox News, no one helped her. New Jersey woman murdered by ex awaiting gun permit. She knew her best shot at defending herself from a violent ex was a gun, and not a piece of paper. She filed the restraining order, and it did nothing to save her life. And it was paperwork that left her unprotected when he showed up at her home and stabbed her to death. And in case you missed it, she had gone to the Township Police Department just 2 days before her death to check on the status of her languishing, as they say, application. In another indication of her fear, she had recently installed surveillance cameras around her home, and the equipment recorded the ex-con attacking her as she arrived home and got out of her car. Which means that having a gun in the house wouldn't have even saved her. She needed to be able to carry. So all this, oh, you don't need to carry out in public. It's not even just out in public. The video 2 weeks ago was on a man who came home and was about to enter his house in California when 2 people came up to rob him at gunpoint. Luckily, he had a firearm, pulled it on them, and they ran off. Shots were fired at them. I think a couple shots were fired at him. But everyone was safe. No one died. She didn't have that. She got out of her car and was attacked and had no way to defend herself. Quote, she should have been granted that permit in a timely manner, especially given her status as a domestic violence victim, said Evan Neppen, a New Jersey-based attorney who specializes in Second Amendment cases. New Jersey's gun laws are among the nation's strictest, but law-abiding citizens are eligible to purchase and possess handguns after filling out forms available at their local police stations, submitting to a background check on any possible criminal history or mental health issues, giving fingerprints, and paying a fee. Once those steps are taken, local police conduct a 14-point investigation, and the chief is supposed to approve or deny for cause within 30 days. Check, I think it was the chief, was it? Did not return requests for comment, but gun right advocates say it's not unusual for Garden State Police chiefs to take several months to approve handgun permits for qualified applicants. The gun law's intention is to be as difficult and cumbersome as possible, Alexander Rubian, president of the New Jersey Second Amendment Society, told Fox News. They need to be repealed. The system is so outdated, he continued. In most states, you go to the store, get a background check, and purchase a weapon. A police chief should have no part in the process. This woman had a legitimate issue, and no one helped her. A manhunt for him, who had done time on a kidnapping conviction and had repeatedly threatened her, began shortly after the murder and ended Saturday when he was found dead of a self-inflicted gunshot in another ex-girlfriend's garage. Pussy. And the fucking best part of this, the tragic murder of her shows that there are sensible changes we should make to public safety laws to help people protect themselves. said Diego, a Republican whose district is in southern New Jersey. This legislation will make sure that those who need protection the most are given priority when it comes to the lengthy process of applying for a firearms permit. Are you kidding me? You call yourself a Republican? Pfft, I'm not even a Republican, and that's fucking bullshit. There shouldn't be a fucking firearms permit to purchase. It's in the Second Amendment. You have a right for it. It's not a privilege granted by the government. It's a right acknowledged and protected by the Constitution from the government. But again, as I continue, the best fucking part about this, however, Napan said, even if she had obtained her permit and used a gun to protect herself, she could theoretically be facing charges today because she would not have been allowed to legally carry the gun outside with her. New Jersey does not allow law-abiding citizens to get a carry license, Napan said. Even if she had gotten the gun, she would still be dead because of other New Jersey laws that made it illegal for her to, carry a firearm. So she had trouble keeping a firearm. And even if she could keep it, it was still illegal to bear the firearm. This is why the Second Amendment is a thing. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Why? Because shit just like this right here, clearly she wasn't some like staunch Second Amendment absolutist type of person who was like, yeah, guns, because she didn't even have the permit to purchase one, which means she didn't even have one. So I doubt she had any training on it. This is why we need to get rid of stupid legislation that violates people's rights and costs people their lives. It's absolutely ridiculous. This shouldn't happen. This is the United States. The Second Amendment is a thing. But some states really seem to hate that. And at least one of them wants to put in a 28th Amendment. This is ridiculous. So next time you think we need more restrictive gun control laws, think about the ramifications of those laws. Of how good people who do no harm, are going to be affected negatively. Of how those people could end up dead. Because even if you're in the city and there's a police station a block away, they might be all busy with other calls and wouldn't be able to reach you for like 40 minutes or an hour. If you live out in the country, it's going to take, 15, 20, 30 minutes just for the police or sheriffs who aren't on a call that's more important than yours to get to you. That's why the saying goes, when seconds count, police are minutes away. So next time someone says we need a permit for purchasing a gun, remember this. That's all I have for you today in this video. If you found it informative, please like the video, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, and peace.